Check it. I hope you don't worry about tomorrow. I'll be in your corner in times when you might forget your lines. I'll be searching for a cue. I'll rule for you. And the ancestors are looking out for us. Hot haze is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lekker. Peace.
Young
Be unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, Freedom Master Teacher, Dr. Malachi York. Hey, Rob Bob family, if you're tuning in. Like I said, this is part 2 to the ice wall. Well, it ain't part 2. It's really we just coming back this time with pictures and videos and everything and clips and everything to verify what we were saying on the first tape. Now, if you new to the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And if you look in the descriptions after the show, you'll see all the other, we got about 6 more other classes on this particular topic. We got Bill from the center of the earth, who was a few, we're gonna talk about him too in this tonight, who is a fugler from the center of the earth. And he gives a whole all right, so you can see my screen. This is a map of what the planet Earth looked like. Like I say, it's hollow. It's hollow Earth. That's why they say hollow Earth. People saying flat, right? But it's really hollow. Now I'm gonna tell you where they get the flat idea from, and why when people sail through the ice wall, they say it's all these other worlds on the other side of the ice wall, right? Now I wish I could blow this up bigger, but it won't let me blow it up no bigger. Hold on. Exit. So I can't see what the heck going on here. Hold on. Now see, now see, all right, now it got back right now. All right, see, look at this. Okay, all right. This map right here, you see there's a hole at the top and it's a hole at the bottom. Now the ice wall is about right here. I don't know if y'all can see my pointer, man. I don't know if y'all can see my pointer. But if you look at the bottom right here at the South Pole, when you get ready to go around this like this conveyor belt type ending right here, it's an ice right here. And you got to go through, it's a lake right here, right? And you got it, but it's cities right here where the government set up their bases, but it's cities once you go around this curve and get through the what they call holes in the this ice wall, you can sail right through here and go through these cities. There's a whole bunch of cities right here at the bottom. One Pacific city Doc pointed out, it's called Rainbow City right here at the bottom, right? And that's the city that when most of these beings, like the being that sailed, I forget his name, in the 1700s. I got some clips from him, right? They'll say his name in the clip, then we can get on it, right? But he sails his through the ice wall, and he comes to some these cities right here at the bottom. It's cities live down here, but it's hundreds, if not thousands, of cities down here, right? And it's mountains down here. This continent, Antarctica, is bigger than Africa and Russia put together, or Asia put together, and maybe even United States too put together. So it's a big old landmass right here in the middle. Then it's continents right here on the side, right here on the side, right here. Right, so it's more. That's the when they say they going when you go past the ice wall, it's other continents or it's other landmass. They talking about Antarctica. They talking about different continents that's on the inside of this land right here, right? Because there's a mountain right here, top a mountain. Y'all can't really see my pointer, but if you look to the right hand side to the bottom and you go up a little bit, you'll see the green area on the side of the sea. At the bottom, you'll see where the mountain area is. Now this Doc got this same picture. Actually, this picture come out the Holy Tablets. Just the Holy Tablets. You can read that for free in the link in the descriptions by Master Teacher Dr. Malachi York. He the one that taught us about Shamballah, and he also wrote a scroll. I'm gonna show you a picture of it called the Shamballah scroll. I'm gonna show you that scroll, right? The picture of it, what it looked like. All right. So what happens is when they sail down here to the bottom. If they go through the ice wall and they get entrance through the city, they can just sail around through the ocean in the inside. It's oceans in the inside. So it's kind of like you would think you never ending. You never ending once you think it's never ending. Once you sail through the ice wall, you just sail around this little conveyor belt type fixture at the bottom. How you because the Anunnakis did this. This actually happens probably like about 20 Antarctica or this inside city was built about 24 billion years ago, right, by the Anunnakis. And why they built it is because they accidentally crashed into, well, they didn't crash into it, the four winds, which were actually crafts from the Ninga fleet who had attached themselves. They tried to attack Nibiru because they thought they were being attacked on their planet, Meldick, and which meant Meldick got destroyed. And then those four ships that they launched tied into or locked into Nibiru magnetic force field, and then once they wobble and they orbit around, those four winds begin to crash into Tiamat, right? And then the Anunnakis had to fix what they did, so they remold the planet using tetrahedric energy, right? And this is what you come out with. Now that the sun that they call the black sun, that's actually was a plutonium bomb. They came off one of the Ninga fleet ships that they had shot at the Anunnakis. The Anunnakis said, we're gonna utilize this because they got more high power technology than the Meldekians had. So when they shot out the fireball, Anunnakis got technology to create artificial stars. So they know how to lock hydrogen inside a stellar core and then ignite it and create a chain reaction, which burns off to create helium. Helium burns off to create hydrogen burns out to create helium, and then once it hurls off into space, it cool off, and they got a mechanism that can trap it, like because the sun even got an atmosphere around it. You might not believe this, but even the sun got an atmosphere around it, and it goes maybe about 2,000 to 3,000 miles, maybe even more outside of the sun's radius. And then what that's built for is like a light bulb. It's kind of like a light bulb, and that what that dome that's built around the sun is meant to do is trap once the hydrogen go off and cool off in the negative 270 degrees, it traps it, then reforms it back into convert it back into helium, thus creating the process where hydrogen, because Doc explains this in the Holy Tablets where he says that 500 million, I think it was, of hydrogen turns into a certain amount of helium, then that reforms back into to hydrogen, and then that process is study repeated, creating your sun or giving a mechanism for the particular sun you got. It's other suns that work different, right? But this particular sun that was shot down in the middle, like I said, we saw this sun and it looked different from the sun on the outside. Why? Because This sun is an artificial sun that was created by the Anunnakis, trapping that the plutonium explosion or the plasma bomb that was shot by these reptilians or these Ninja Turtle type species called the Meldekians, who actually landed in Bermuda Triangle and set up a base there, right? They shot off this fireball, which was trapped by the Anunnakis in the stellar core, and then put inside of the center of the Earth to create the tropical atmosphere that you see. All right, now, so another thing I want to point out too, before we go to the clips and stuff. So you hear people talking, and they say, "Oh, you can just sell when you sell beyond the ice wall is other land." They talking about this inner city, these inner worlds, right? The inner world, which a lot of the ancient cultures talk about. The ancient Hindu culture talk about it. In the ancient Kemet, they talk about it. All the land, even the Native American culture, they talk about it. All the lands where the entrances are. So that's what I'm going to get into next. Now there are entrances. There are several entrances on each side. If with the arrow, if you see what on this side, where the C's at, right, where the arrow's at, that's the different entrances on both sides. And then if you see where the brown mark's at inside of the curve on the outside of the planet, right, you'll see that that's advanced cave systems. All those are advanced cave because it's other extraterrestrials who have dug down 200 miles or so, even more, 1,000 miles or so, maybe 400 miles or so into the Earth crust and set up advanced bases underground, right? And we're gonna show some pictures of some of those species that set up these advanced cities under the ground, right? And then if you get into past this underground, so those beings live underground right here in cave systems, but then you keep on going to the inside, you'll reach the center Earth. Now, keep in mind in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1, it said, now man has began to multiply on the face of the earth. So, and if you study the scripture, you'll see that it said replenish. So that means that man was here first, and then now they began to multiply on the surface. But what people don't want to point out is that man was multiplying on the center of the earth before they were multiplying on the surface of the earth, right? So it's more people that's why when they say that they went to this other side of the ice wall, they say they went to the ancestral lands. They call it to the ancestral lands. Why? Because the beings that live on the center of the earth are from the original. Some of them are from the original genetic pool before the Anunnakis pulled the reset, which was the last reset. Really was a couple of resets, but the last major reset was the pole shift during Utnapishtim's time, who you refer to as Noah in your Bible, where the pole shift, they wiped off a certain amount of the human DNA, right? But some of them people went to the center of the earth. They got taught how to go to the center of the earth by the Tarcisians, the ant beings, and other species like the reptilians. Certain group of reptilians came to this, because Aldana talk about this book in the book Aldana Return about certain these reptilians, that because she was sad when we had left the planet and we hovered while the planet reset. But some reptilians came to the surface and told humans to come on the ground with them. And then Doc also pointed out that certain tribes like the Watusis and the Pygmies, the Twi-Man, went behind waterfalls through openings and through the underground cave systems. And that's how they survived the pole shift, right? Because if they wiped out the original man, why the Twi-Man still here? Why the Sands Man still here? Now we know the Sands Man is part of the upgrade. We can get into that too. But when they selling around here, when they sail through this ice wall, and then they hit when they sail 500 miles into the ice wall, well, you get out of the ice wall probably out to maybe about a couple miles, couple hundred miles. You probably can sail to once you get to the lake area, or once you get to this other area, you come to the city. It's a city. It's cities right here in the ice, advanced cities, and it's also a city called Rainbow City, like I said. But once they sail through the ice and they get about 500 miles into going around this loop, they go to what they call reverse gravity or reverse polarity, right? I can show you some pictures of that too. Let me show you, because Doc had pictures of that in the Holy Tablets. Let's see. Let's go to images. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, before I go to another image, let me add this, then because I don't want to come back to this image unless I really got it. All right, so another thing too. All right, so you see this on the side right here, right? The side, this like a C, right? Now this crust, this is only the crust. Ain't no mantle and core like they telling you. It's a center. This whole area right here is all land. Even the side parts are land, are continents. So it's like 3 or 4 continents on the inside of your planet. So you really got 10. It's really 3 continents actually. It's a continent on this side, continent on this side. Then you got Antarctica. So it's actually 3 more continents when you pass the ice wall, right? And they talk about, oh, people they've been trying to keep this a secret. Yeah, the Anunnakis have been keeping it a secret, but the government know about it, and the government been keeping it a secret. They actually set up bases at both of these areas so they can shoot down extraterrestrial crafts. See, Doc got pictures of extraterrestrial crafts coming at the top, and Doc said that some of the extraterrestrials, when they come here now, that when they fly, come because it's a library in the center of the earth. It's a library, a galactic library where extraterrestrials come here to do research. And some of them come here, they came here in a while, and then don't know if the humans got more advanced, and then they try to fly up in there and don't cloak their ship or something, and or they cloak their ship, and the humans got devices that can detect them and shoot them down, and that's how they've been getting so many ships at these underground bases like Area 51 and all that now, because they've been shooting. They station themselves at the center of the hole where these extraterrestrials come in there, and they start shooting them down, right? Using these drones with direct energy weapons on them, right? That they've been had since 1952, since Eisenhower, right? And somebody said they used them up in California on the last fires, but that's neither here nor there, right? But yeah, so this crust, the crust is only 1,000 miles thick. And once you go down 500 miles, you go to reverse polarity, where, say, if you was traveling up, like you say, if you was traveling up, right? Once you get to 500 miles, it'll seem like you're going down. And then once you get out of them 500 miles of crust, boom, you go to the center of the earth. It's a whole nother world. It seems like you're in a whole nother paradigm. It seems like you're in a whole nother paradigm. Now let me show this. And this right here is all engineered. This whole planet is engineered by the Anunnakis, right? And they engineering the planet. They've been doing this for millions of years. This ain't nothing new. They've been, the Anunnakis are the Elohims of your Bible. The Elohims of your Bible been creating planets. They've been creating suns, right? We can get into that, but this planet is engineered. And your crust, let me show you what your crust is made out of. We're going to show you what the crust is made out of. It's made out of basalt and plastic and a little bit of silicone, etc. All right, let's see what we can get into here. All right, here go the scroll right here that Doc wrote right here. Hold on. I got to remove it. Hold on, y'all. Let's get it cracking. Hit that subscribe button. Videos. We got clips. We got videos. We got everything, right? Remove this. All right, so this is a scroll by Master Teacher Dr. Malachi Z. York called Shamballah and Agartha. Right? The cities, I gotta take my glasses off. The city within the earth, right? And now, like a lot of this stuff, matter of fact, this book, you can get this scroll right here, right? This is one of the old scrolls, but this information is also in the Holy Tablets, and it's a whole chapter in the Holy Tablets about this. And you can read the Holy Tablets for free in the link in the descriptions, right? So this is the scroll that the Master Teacher put out about Shamballah, not to mention the Holy Tablets and other books like the Black Book, etc. Right, man. I see how people I see how these people putting out information, and they saying, oh, we at one part they said, we went to the island of Tahuti, and Tahuti down with us, but then we going over here and we fighting against the custodians. And I'm saying to myself, who is the custodians? It says there was an issue. Yeah. Okay, all right. I'm saying, who are the custodians, right? But now let's roll a clip while we got some people in here, man. Let's roll a clip real quick. Let's see what we got first.
This video has got people seriously questioning reality. It shows a man who claims he's been exiled from beyond the ice wall. According to him, the land outside is perfect. No war, no suffering, no pollution. He says our world is basically a prison, and he was sent here as punishment. Now, the video is in another language, but translations say he's describing this so-called paradise in vivid detail. Lush, clean air, advanced civilizations. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but he's dead serious. So, what is this ice wall he's talking about? Well, it's a core belief in flat Earth theory. Instead of the Earth being a globe with poles, this theory says the Earth is flat, surrounded by a massive ice ring, which we know as Antarctica. But here's the twist. That icy border, it's supposedly guarded, not to protect us, but to keep us from escaping, or from discovering what's really beyond it. Some believe there are entire continents hidden past the wall, advanced civilizations, new species, maybe even lost human history. Of course, scientists completely dismiss this theory. They say the ice wall doesn't exist, that Antarctica is just Antarctica.
Now, like I said, it's some truth. It's truth to what they're saying. There is an ice wall at the South Pole. There is a whole tunnels or gateways through these ice holes, and once you sail through there are other continents, but it's not flat. I just showed you a map of it, right? And so it can assume to be flat if you selling, like I say, if you selling 500 miles around that loop. Once you get to 500 and the poles reverse, you go into, you think oh damn, we still selling straight, or you think you just still selling the way it's set up. You think you still selling on a flat Earth, but you're not. You in a whole nother world. You in the center world where oh boy. What they just said right here, I don't know how much of that guy is true. He looked like, he said he came from the center of the earth, right? Now, down there, people age a lot slower. Down there, one day is 1,000 years to these people. So you can live down there for 1,000 years, and it'd be like one day to down there, right? So they live longer. The air is not polluted like it is up here, right? Another thing, because Billy Woodard talk about this. Like I said, we got his tapes in the links in the descriptions as well. He talk about how it's not polluted, how they don't how they observe Mother Nature and how they build around nature and things like that nature. He go in to say that, right? Let's play another clip.
I'm saying back to them, like, just trust me. You guys don't understand, right? Like, we've been lied to. Trust me, you'll see what's ahead. They're going, buddy, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we're just going to come back up around the other side of the globe. You know, they're telling me we're going to hit the Indian Ocean, Australia.
Not only did you fly over the ice wall in a stolen, so you're telling me this guy flew over the ice wall with a jet he'd stolen from the research facility he worked for, and not only found this dark continent with zero sunlight, but encountered an anatomically...
This video has got people serious.
I'm saying back to them, like, just trust me. You guys don't understand, right? Like, we've been lied to. Trust me, you'll see what's ahead. They're going, buddy, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we're just going to come back up around the other side of the globe. You know, they're telling me we're going to hit the Indian Ocean, Australia, right? They were thinking in terms of the global model. But this is where it gets crazy, you know, as they realize I ain't stopping. One of the other pilots says to me, he goes, listen, you land that thing now, we sign an NDA and go home, act like this never happened. But go ahead, continue forward if you must, but just know it's a one-way ticket. You ain't ever coming back.
What did you do?
What I set out to. I could see the wall by this point. There was no turning back. And as I fly over the wall, the other jets behind me just hit wide pivots to turn around, and the pilot radios me one last time. He goes, crazy son of a... Good luck, kid. And I mean, look, I just soar off into no man's land. I'm baffled. I'm seeing land masses that have never been accounted for. The navigational equipment on the jet is no longer working, but I know as long as I stay due south, I'll reach Panthea. I'll reach the dark continent. And lo and behold, 30 or so hours later, sun goes down and it never comes back up. I start to drop my altitude to get a better view, and there she was. I saw the dark lands. I saw everything that Hemington had spoke of. Look, I landed the jet on a clear landscape, and before I even had a chance to get out, there they were. The Pantheons Hemington spoke of, stepping in slowly. I mean, they were literally surrounded.
Now listen up, they talking about the Pantheons, right? And they referring to when this land was one land mass, the people that lived on the land, they talking about them that was advanced, that the Anunnaki. So the storyline they give these guys is that when the land was one mass, these humans, it was some humans here, and they were more advanced than we are now, right? But the Anunnakis came back and saw how advanced they were, and they wanted to reset them. So they broke out with a war against the Anunnakis. Now, some of them some of these pantheons retreated to the center, back to the center of the earth. And the Anunnakis got rid of the rest of the guys and just started a new gene pool. This is what they say. And the ones that survived, that went to the center of the earth with this, that was more advanced than the humans are now, they live now in the center of the earth, and they became known as the pantheon. It's a storyline that they give, right? Now, and I listened to the whole tape of this guy, and I got more clips too. But what they're not mentioning is why nobody mentioning Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd flew his plane. Let me show you a picture of Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd flew his plane 500 miles into the earth, to the hole. This right. About hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to Young TV, man. This Admiral Byrd, go Google him. He had a diary that he wrote about. Hey, I flew 500 miles into the earth into a hole. He said it was a hole, right? Now it's another one. It's another one too. That before he flew into the hole in North Pole, there was a thing called Project High Jump. Go look up a thing called Project High Jump. And Adolf Hitler and them was already down at Antarctica, knowing about the center of Earth. They was already down there, the Third Reich, right? And they'd already had certain technology from a certain group of reptilians and Ash Star Command. And they was down, posted up in there, and the United States government sent Admiral Byrd and a group of Navy guys, and a couple of boats down there to get at Hitler. And Hitler got back at them, and America got their butt kicked. Then they tried it again. It's another project that they tried it again to go at Hitler, and they lost again. And then once they saw they couldn't get past Hitler, right? They said, we're going to try the North Pole hole. And that's when they sent Admiral Byrd on a mission to the North Pole, right? This is Admiral Byrd right here. Get ready for the mission through the North Pole, or coming back from it, right? And he said that he flew 500 miles into the hole. And I think I got a video of the hole. They took the NASA got videos of the hole, but they airbrush it out from the they airbrush it out when they go out of space. They airbrush it with white clouds, so that you won't see the hole at the top and the hole at the bottom. And it's the killing part. Not only your planet is built like this, just about all the planets in your solar system. If you look at a map of them and look at the top, you will see a hole at the top. Even Saturn, Jupiter, all of them got holes at the top, because most of the people live in the center. Most of the advanced extraterrestrials live in the center of their planet. But the man was multiplying in the center of the planet on Earth before he began to multiply on the surface of Earth. Genesis chapter 6, when the Anunnakis came down and started mixing with him again, right? But Admiral Byrd, go look him up. He flew his plane, and then he landed, and he even recorded talking to beings, such as Field Corps, who was the leader of these big head beings, who Yakubs come from, right? And I'm gonna show you pictures of them too. But yeah, so the planet is a donut, and like I say, what gives it the flat theory is when they sail through that ice wall and they just going around a loop. They don't notice that they curving off. It don't appear that you curving around, because it take about 1,000 miles. It's a 1,000 mile curvature, and the way it's curved, you won't even notice, because it's just like going on the outside of Earth. And so if you just being able to sail around one side, it'll look flat. It can be flat to you, like that picture that I showed you. It can be, if you just take one side of it and just say, okay, this is Earth. That can really be a flat Earth to you, right? But like I say, don't forget about Admiral Byrd, who flew his plane into 500 miles, landed it, went talked to the people down there, and gave all of the descriptions and wrote it down in a diary and brought it back, and the government confiscated his diaries, and pretty much anybody that went with him and Admiral Byrd eventually mysteriously get picked off. They get picked off by you know who, right? Somebody picked them off after they got them diaries because they didn't want this getting out. So if anybody trying to keep you from knowing about it, it's the government. The government is number one because the government been knowing about it since Admiral Byrd or before, right? Because they thought it was all myth when they was reading it in all them ancient books and that they got stole from under the Sphinx from Tahuti, right? Because Tahuti is his mother from the underworld. So all them books that they stole from under the Sphinx and they hid them under the Vatican, and they say, oh yeah, so it's saying something about, and then so they called it hell. They called Shamballah hell. These guys, these religious guys who stole all the books out of they said Alexandria, right? They call it Alexandria, and then they burned the copies, and then took them a couple copies, and then hid it under the Vatican, and they sneak down there and try to read through it, and it says something about this place underground that's in them, but it's really a paradise, but they telling you it's a hell. Right? It's a hell to them, but then it's a paradise to everybody you that talked to that went down there. Right, but it is a certain place down there where these beings get trapped because that city is more advanced. Shamballah is an advanced city. The fragrance of Allah, right? The scent of Allah, right? Shamballah, right? Now, another thing might I add is like I said, they knew since Admiral Byrd. Now let's get some more pictures in here. Let's take that one down. I'm getting the hang of this now, seeing how to work it. Young TV, man, hit that like. We got some more clips. We got a lot of clips. Like I said, we got his videos in the link. His name is Billy Woodard. Claim that he from the center of the earth. They actually live in advanced case. Hold on. Okay, something happened with that. Let me see. Can I get another one? A Billy. It wouldn't load that one up for Billy. But like I said, we got his videos. I don't know if let me see. It's something going on. It won't let me load that picture. Man, it says it won't let me load that one. It says there was an issue trying to load your pictures. I wonder why. Let's see, can we share our screen then and do it? Can we share our screen, make it easier, man? We'll come back to that. Hey, Robot. We up late with it, man. That's how we do it. Y'all on TV, man. Yeah. I guess we can start. Okay, yeah, here go. Let me see. Blow Billy Woodard up for you. Now, this guy right here, his name is Billy Woodard. He worked at Area 51. He worked at the underground facilities. Aku's drafted beans. Now I'm about to get into it. He said that was his dad. Now they made a movie about this guy. They made a movie about Billy Woodard and his sister and Walt Disney called Escape from Witch Mountain. The Witch Mountain is Mount Sasha. It's a mountain called Mount Sasha in California, right? And Billy Woodard said that him and his sister got dropped off on the surface to live on the surface with the humans. So they could come to these people could come to the surface. These frugaloids can come to the surface and blend in with us. And a lot of them have, like Bill Gates. A lot of these frugaloids have come to the surface and blended in with the humans. And they walk around as billionaires talking about they built a computer. How is he able to build a computer? Because he an extraterrestrial. That's why. He part extraterrestrial. He a hybrid child of these frugaloids. But like I say, they made a movie of you can watch the Billy Woodard tapes in this links in the descriptions, and they made a movie about him called Escape from Witch Mountain. Go watch that movie. It gives you his storyline. And like I say, they made plenty of movies of Earth. Go watch the movies Journey to the Center of the Earth. Right? About these, they put everything out all these journeys. They tell you they got. See, the thing is, and when they got movies, Doc already said it. They already told you if they showed you something in the movie, they already 4 or 5 levels deeper than what they showing you. They've been knowing about the Center of the Earth since Adam and Bird. Come on, man. Here go another one. They upgraded. They keep on telling you. They try to keep on telling you. They keep on putting the same movie out. Keep on trying to tell you. Except Journey to the Center of the Earth. All right. Now it's another guy named Richard Shaver. He talk about the dead rules before Doc put it out. Richard Shaver. And it's another man named I'll think of his name in a minute. But Richard Shaver wrote all of these comics or these magazine type literatures where they talk about the center of the Earth and the advanced cave systems, and that one of the group of beings that live down there are called Derus. And these Derus, they are obesity beings. And I got videos about them too, other videos in the different extraterrestrial playlists. And like I say, Doc I'm gonna show you more pictures that Doc created in the Holy Tablets, and the tribe created, right? But Richard Shaver gives accounts of different people having contact with these beings from the center of the Earth, these fat, obese Deru extraterrestrials who are disagreeable. And they don't like they pretty much they nasty guys and supposedly don't like humans. Right? But they mixed in with humans, which is why you see a lot of people that be over 400 pounds with the fat ankles and things. That comes from this Deru gene mixing in with the humans in the land of Nod. All right, here go. This right here comes from Return of the Nine Ether. A shot Return of the Nine Ether. This came out for Return of the Nine Ether. I guess he AI generated what one of them would look like. And they really do got these chairs just like he put in here. I don't know how I don't know if he saw it on something, but they really do got these chairs that look just like that. Right? That's use magnetic levitation and gravity energy. All right, so this is a picture that Doc that's in the Holy Tablets of what they look like. These beings. Now they don't live all the way in the center of the Earth. They live in advanced cave systems that I showed you on the map. They live in them advanced cave systems. And these guys were supposed to be kept in check by the Terus. Because they are offspring of the Terus. Right? And we got the skulls of the Terus. I put a whole movie out called the Germanians, right? And it's called the Conehead movie. Go check out the Conehead movie that I put out in the different extraterrestrial playlists. Here's another the front of the magazine, I think number 1 of by Richard Shaver. Shave her, right? Shave her. Richard Shave her, right? The hidden world. The hidden world is Shamballah or Agartha, right? And he put this out, right? It says 1943. Shaver, the inner world mysteries, right? The inner earth mysteries. Here's another picture from the shout out to Return of the Nine Ether God. It's another picture that he generated right here that I found on his page. Right, what they would look like, these guys. And they intelligent. Don't let the looks fool you. And remember Ganesh in the Hindu culture, because the Hindus worship these beings. And so they made a statue of him and turned him into a god. And Ganesh actually was a real figure who was a hybrid being of one of these Deru people. All right, like I told you, Hitler was already at the ice wall already, in the inside of the ice wall. Hitler set up a base down there already. That's what Project High Jump was about, for the government trying to get down. They eventually beat Hitler. All right, so this is what it essentially looks like. It's a landmass under this, but it's a lot of ice. It's ice. Now, certain extraterrestrials have dig tunnels through here to get through the ice wall. And then once you get through the ice wall, you will see all the other cities and the other land masses that's over there. But once you go 500 miles, you go reverse polarity. So it'll seem like you're on a flat earth, but you're not. You're going into the center of the earth. Right? Okay, here go the lake. It's called Lake Vostok. Lake Vostok. It sounds like a Russian name, right? Right. If you go this right here, lake, you can go to the bottom of this lake. This is the entrance to the center of the earth. This is the bottom of this lake. Now they'll lie to you and they show you maps of it. They'll specifically show you maps where in just to deter you. But this map is an endless map. And that's how Hitler and them first found out about it. Because Hitler and them put submarines in this water and then went try to go to the bottom of it and then came out of the Argon Ocean. Right? Here you go right here. That's how you spell it right there. V-O-S. Let's blow that up. Vostok. Right? They show you this part where they're drilling for a certain type of water. But this is the lake right here. That you can get to the center of the earth. It's other entrances too. Like it's entrances through the pyramids in ancient Kemet, in the Giza Plateau. Right? It's ways you can get down there. Now it's booby trapped because a certain group of beings who are part of this. I'm gonna show you pictures of them too. They good at setting booby traps. I'm gonna show you them beings, right? So don't let me forget about that. I'm gonna show you them beings. They're gonna come up in a minute. Now, it was a certain group of beings that lived here on the land, this landmass right here where Hawaii used to be, called a land of Mu. This was a landmass that got sunk by the reptilians. Right? These beings on the other side of the wall refer to the reptilians as the custodians. And I was trying to put that together. Why they call the reptilians the custodians? And they said that, so they made a distinction between the custodians and the Anunnakis. Right? But you see Africa right there, but you see Atlantis right here. This was our main capital right here of the whole setup on the surface. Right? Which got sunk. It got attacked by the reptilians. The brothers of Tahuti referred to them as the brothers of the darkness. And what happened is we had books on Shamballah. It was a whole bunch of books on the maps and everything on Shamballah. But what happens is when the reptilians came, Tahuti talk about it in the Emerald Tablets, where we had to get in our ship and then we sailed over to Africa. And then we landed by the Sphinx. And then Tahuti put his ship under the Sphinx and hid all the books there. Later on, they broke into it. They digged under the Sphinx and found one of the compartments, and they found Tahuti's ship, but they can't move it because it's so huge, and they haven't figured out how to get in it yet. They just sitting there studying it for 100 years. Well, not in 100 years. It's been a while. They've been studying it for a while, and they know about it, and the Africans know about it. Right down now under the Sphinx, they found Osiris' tomb. Right, I think under the Sphinx. Or close somewhere by the Sphinx, right? Underground. They got covered up. Now, like I say, these are the land masses that was over here. So it was more continents over here than it is now. Some of them are just islands, turning into little islands now because it got sunk. But like I say, it's 3 more other continents on the other side of the ice wall. And it's not a flat earth. All right, here's another picture of it right here, what it would look like. Now, supposedly, when this here land got sunk by the reptilians, these beings went to the center of the earth and went beyond the ice. So they left and went beyond the ice wall. Right? So let me backtrack. The story I was just telling you about that these pantheons give is that they was living here during the time when this map was like this. And what happens is that they got into it with the reptilians and the Anunnakis, supposedly. And so only a certain amount of them survived, and they went over to the other side of the ice wall. That's the storyline they give, right? Here's another picture of the land of Mu. Right? Lemuria. Right? You can see it right here. It's another and all this right here was considered the land of Mu too. This whole part of Asia right here. You can see that map, right? On the map. All right, this is Babsop Plaskett. This is what your Earth crust is made of. Your Earth crust is made of this material right here, and this is a material created pretty much. It's created by fossil fuels and things of that nature. But the Anunnakis created this a mechanism, and this right here is a part of your crust. This bath salt. This is another thing that's part of your crust. Granite. It's granite. Granite is a part of your crust. They got a thick layer, it's maybe about 150 to 200 miles thick. Granite is a part of your crust going down that. I'm gonna go back and show you the picture when we get to it in a minute. But keep in mind about the bath salt, plastic, and the crust, and the granite. And that's when the plates, when this conveyor belt type thing rub together, and it starts to create friction. It begins to melt and create what you call lava. The bath salt melt and create lava, right? So that's why it's lava in between the crust, because the plates can be adjusted and moved. All right, this is just regular bath salt, and this stone is what they made the crust out of. The Anunnakis use these three particular things, and silicone. Take that back. The first one was granite. This granite right here. This granite, right? Granite is a part of your Earth crust. Okay, hold on. All right, there's a cone head right here. These are beings that are part of the beings that live in the. They control those. Here's a leader of them. I think his name is Lansma or something like that. I forget his name. But he the leader of the cone heads in the center of the earth. They live in advanced cave systems. Right? Here's a statue that the Japanese got of one of these beings in a museum. They got a statue of these cone head beings in their museum. All right, if you haven't seen the movie that called these controls, they whole planet, the whole rundown. It's kind of funny. It's pretty funny, right? But this right here is the whole movie. You can go watch it in the playlist, right? All right, they put a movie out about it called Cone Heads, right? But you know how they do. They make everybody got to be a certain color, right? That's how they do. Here's another being that live in the center of the earth. And these are the ones that guard the South Pole. They guard the cities at the South Pole. These are the Dewanis, right? So when Hitler went down to the North Pole, he met with these beings to get access to the North Pole. To the South Pole. When Hitler went down to the South Pole and set up their base, he made deals with these beings, these Dewanis. And they are how you calling mistaken as the leprechauns, and some of them came in and mixed with humans, right? They came in and mixed with humans, and this is why some of the leprechauns and all that, right? This is why some of the humans got a lot of hair on them. It's connected with these beings, right? The ones and they peaceful beings, they benevolent beings. That Doc talk about them. Here's another one. Pictures of what they look like. Right, these beings. And another thing to point out, some of the crafts that you're seeing that look like the orbs, besides the ones at the Great Ball of Fire, the orbs that look like the orbs that are flying by these beings, them silver orbs. This is what they ship look like, but it's chrome looking. So they ship look like a ball, and they got like a window in the front. So if you see something that look like this, you might be seeing one of the warning ships from the center of the earth. Here's another picture. He actually looked like the dude that I met named Lucky. And this is another picture of Sinclair, because that's Sinclair's piece. Right? This is another drawing of Sinclair, the leader. Sinclair's the leader of these Dewanis. Right? And my homeboy Lucky, he said that he was hybrid beings of these. He the one that my homeboy Lucky is the one that told me about Malachi. Right? He told me you gotta go. You need to go. The master of waste shoe. His name is Malachi Z. York L. That's what Lucky told me. And then another dude, then after Lucky had told me, but then I ain't even go look him up then because I was busy making beats or something like that. But then somebody else came and told me again, but it was a homeless guy that told me about Malachi. And then I said, "Oh yeah, I gotta go check." Lucky said something about that dude, so I went and looked him up after that. And I didn't go look him up that same day because I got arrested that day. I got arrested for a seat belt ticket out of a whole other town, and I believe they arrested me because I was with Hurricane Chris that day. I was following him in my car to go to another studio, and I guess they thought that I was trailing them to rob him or something because the hip hop police was watching him, right? So the hip hop police was watching Hurricane, like they like a fraction in COINTELPRO and FBI. And so I guess they saw my light out. They saw 3 dudes riding in a car, looked like it was a stolen car. It wasn't no stolen car though. It was a little Subaru that I had paid $500 for. It drove all over the globe in that truck, in that little car. Right, put $20 for gas, and you could drive from California to New York for $20. Man, them Subarus don't drink no gas, man. But yeah, but I ended up getting arrested that night for a seatbelt ticket. I'm telling you, man, it was crazy, right? But this is a tape that I put out a long time ago about these beings and about my storyline of meeting the hybrid, the one named Lucky, right? It's called Galactic Family of Life 16. You also can get that into the different playlists. These beings live in the center of the earth, and they made a series about them called Alf. And this dude right here is the ancient Egyptian god Bes, and he a hybrid being from these beings, and he guarded certain entrances to certain temples, and he guarded the entrances to Shamballah. So these beings, they guard the entrance to Shamballah. Right, and they're very good at setting up booby traps and things of that nature. So in the pyramids, Best was the one that set up the booby traps and things to guard the treasures, because these beings guard the treasures like the leprechauns, right? They guard the treasures. So Best set up all the booby traps to guard the treasures, and also he's used as a tiler to guard sacred temples, right? So some people that know about Best, they might put them on front of their house. So Best, he wards off evil spirits in the ancient Egyptian culture. And there's another statue of him with his tongue hanging out, and he's like saying like nah boo boo, you can't get me, right? And he's sending that energy towards demons, where he's warding off fear with that type of mentality, with his tongue hanging out. You know, when you was a kid and somebody and y'all playing, and then you stick your tongue out like nah boo boo, it's kind of like that type of thing, a certain type of energy frequency you sending off, that not a fear energy, right? But that's another thing. Here's another picture of him, and like I say, Doc talk about these people in the Holy Tablets when you get to the Underworld chapter, called the Warnings. All right, here's the cone heads. Here's a skull, actual skull they found of the beings. Here's a Danako skull, and this is the leader, one of the head guys in the center of the earth. His name is Fieldcore. He's the leader of these Danako people, right? And these two species mixing together brought about the being which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talk about, and everybody else talking about in Islam, named Yaku, the big head scientist. Yaku's father, named Yishak, was from these beings. They had the double head, and they lived in the center of the earth, these beings. And the cone heads, they live in the center of the earth. They went underground in China once they got into it with the Shin dynasty. Here's another here's more pictures of what they look like, these big head people. And they came to the surface and mixed in with humans, some of them. And that's why a lot of you got the receding hairline. A lot of you got if you wonder why you're getting bald in the middle and you got hair on the side, you got these beings in you. You got a lot of different extraterrestrial genetics in you. The Deru, matter of fact, all the ones I done showed, all the extraterrestrial I done showed in this whole video, all of them got some kind of DNA mixed in most humans. So a lot of y'all got the receding hairline and the Willow's Peak, which actually come down from the Balkans, and the pointy ears come from the Balkans. But you got the receding hairline like George Jefferson, and the big head, the big forehead. That come from these beings. Here's another picture. This actually was Yishak, and this is all his uncles, right? And this is his auntie, right? Well, it'd be his cousin, because this is Philcor's daughter, and this is Philcor's brother. So Yakub would be her cousin, her first cousin, and this was his uncles, almost some of the people that taught him, that was teaching Yakub, right? Here's Billy Woodrick's people right here. Here's Billy Woodrick's people right here. They call the Fugolords, the Flugerords, right? These are Yakub's drafted beings. Billy Woodrick come from these beings from the advanced cave systems underground. Him and his sister was from these beings. They are the Flintstones. They made a cartoon called Flintstones about these beings. All right, and these Fugolords mixed with another race of beings who came out of the Nubians, and they are really Nubians too. They were called the Canaanites, and they were albinos with blonde hair. It talk about that in the Bible in Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30, and Leviticus chapter 14, verse 34, where it says, "Cursed be Canaan, a plague of leprosy I put in the house." And you go into Exodus chapter 4, verse 6, where Moses stuck his hand into his bosom and pulled it out, and it turned white. And then you can go into Numbers chapter 12, verse 10, or it might be 10, 12. No, I think it's 12, 10, where Moses' sister get mad because Moses is gonna marry an Ethiopian chick and a Cushite, which means black, right? And she turns into an albino, right? And this is mentioned of in the scriptures. And cursed be Canaan, a servant shall he be to his brothers, who is the Hamites, which means burnt black, who are those dark-skinned black hand guys that we told you about, who use Canaan, the Canaanites, who are the Jebusites and the Amorites and the Hittites, who are in the Jerusalem now to this very day, right? They use them as their front man, these guys. All right, here's the picture I generated for the videos that I put out. These are the Fugolords, the Flintstones. They later on become known, listen up now, as the Hillbillies. And they some of the richest people in the world, the ones that came to the surface. They call it Hillbillies. Another name for them is the Huguenots. And then they become the Protestants. The Protestants and Huguenots go hand in hand. A lot of this stuff, you're going to come back to it maybe a year later and say, man, young Elder was really cracking in this thing. He really was cracking craniums. Remember the Flintstones, right? It's dealing with fire. A Flintstone is what you start a fire with, because they didn't know nothing about fire. The Moors. Now let me build on this part, because we ain't sidetracking off of Shamballah and the ice wall. These beings live behind the ice wall, and they are the wealthy Flintstones, are the ones some of the ones they come in contact with, and they said they talking about these guys, right? Now let me build out this part for a second. Now the Flintstones is the Fugolords, Yakub's drafted people, who are, they kind of advance a little bit down there, right? And like I said, they can clean up, come to the surface, and some of them have cleaned up and live underground in these advanced cities underground. And so remember now that Yakub's scientists were Moors. Yakub's scientists were dark-skinned Asiatics, the ones that he left in charge to continue his project. And they continued the project on the Fugolords, the Flintstones, right? I'm going to put it together for you. A lot of people might be halfway asleep. It's 11 o'clock at night. Some places it's 12 o'clock at night, right? And so they used these people and trained the Flintstones, and the Moors taught them about fire. These Flintstones used to eat raw meat in the Caucasus Mountains. That's how they became known as Caucasians. But they used to eat raw meat before, and they didn't know how to use fire. And the Moors, the Asiatic black mans, came and taught them, because Yakub, his scientists, we don't want to go too far in on that, because we probably have to do that on another tape. But we got a tape called Yakub at Yaku's Freemasonry. And we got a tape called Freemasonry and Flintstones. And we go into a lot of this stuff that I'm going to tell you. So you want to get more on that, go watch them tapes. And I think it's in the Freemasonry school playlist. You can go watch them tapes because I want to keep on going. I got a lot of stuff to go over. And it's late and people sleep, right? So remember the Flintstones. All right, here's another map. This is a map that come out of the Holy Tablets. Exactly. Remember I told you where it says, see at the bottom right here where it says plastic bath salt? So the little scribble in lines on this side piece right here, that middle piece is bath salt. Then you get into then you get into a plastic. This white piece right here going around in the middle is plastic. You got so the Anunnakis, a lot of your planet is built with plastic. Matter of fact, most of your crust is plastic. Man, I believe this shit's crazy, right? Then a lot of it is granted. Doc got them labeled here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see because the screen's so small. But then it says on the other side, if you can blow the screen up, it says 400 miles to center of gravity. Right? It's actually 500. Well, actually 400 is about accurate. 400 is about accurate to center of gravity. So it's 400 miles to center of gravity. So that means that once you sail through the ice wall and you sail 400 miles, you go to reverse gravity. So it can seem like you just kept sailing straight, like you ain't sail off the side, right? And so it can appear to be a flat Earth theory. That flat Earth theory can appear to be right once you sail past the gravity center, the center of gravity, right? All right, here you go right here. All right, so this is the center of gravity mass right here that Doc put in the Holy Tablets. Now, so once you sail past, this is center of gravity, and this is what they use. This is what the Anunnakis use to switch the poles, because Earth wasn't supposed to rotate. Enlil caused it. It didn't go natural. Enlil caused the flip, right? And he knew about it the whole time for a long time and didn't tell nobody to the last minute. Here's another picture of the Fugaloids, Billy Woodrick's people. Here's another picture of the Danaka, the Wanies. Another picture of the Coneheads, Terus. Here's another picture of the center Earth. All right, so this is some of the material that the Earth crust is made out of. Right here, the bath salt. All right, here's a diagram of that same map, really, but except they just showing you the real world is in the center. We live on this outside ring, on the brown part. We live on the outside, but this is it's a whole bunch of other worlds in the inside, and this is more deeper than what you think. All right, so let me explain this a little bit more. All right, so we live on the brown part, right? That's the surface. Once you go into the center world, what it's showing you that it's more worlds, but not only dimension, it's going into another level here. It's different dimensions. It's another dimension, a fifth and sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimensions inside of Earth, different levels, different realms of existence inside of the center Earth. That's another level to it, right? What they're going into on this ancient map, right? Which is the same really layout of the other one I just showed you. Just they show the hole. They show you the hole to the top right here too. They show you like a wheel, and all these little wheels you see on is entrances, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 entrances, right? Oh, that's 7. It's 8. I think that's the last picture we had in that file. All right, now let's show some. Let's get back into this screen and show some of this. We played that one.
Stole a
Let's
jet
play
to
this
see
one.
if there were really lands beyond the ice wall, to see if the things John Hemington spoke of, the Dark Continent, the Pantheons, actually existed.
Exactly. Look, I had nothing to lose. And so I'm standing outside a maximum security fence at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, masked up. You know, I'm just trying to spot any possible security, but I cut the fence and make my way in. And As I shattered the glass to get into the building, this alarm just starts blaring, and I'm thinking, hell, if there wasn't security on shift yet, they're definitely on their way now, right? And so I'm just sprinting down the hall, hearts racing, until I find the aerial control department, and I just grab the first badge I see off the aircraft key card repository. And as I sprint back out to the flight line to get on one of these jets, I see the facility's security personnel just flushing the place. And I mean, I've got good distance, but they're on my tail. And so as I jump inside a jet and start initializing the engine, I'm seeing security literally just sprint head on in my direction. But I mean, look, I wasn't stopping. I was in too deep at this point. Where it really had gotten out of control, right, was as I start to take off down the airstrip, I see one of the other jets behind me start to rev up, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I hope these people are ready for the jet chase of the century, because I ain't landing until I'm 1,000 miles beyond the ice wall.
You're out of your mind, man.
Look, it gets to a point, I'm flying south over the Antarctic Ocean. I've got 2 or 3 of these other jets behind me. They're kind of radioing me on the traffic control, just threatening me, begging me to land. I'm saying back to them, like, just trust me. You guys don't understand, right? Like, we've been lied to. Trust me, you'll see what's ahead. They're going, buddy, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we're just going to come back up around the other side of the globe. You know, they're telling me we're going to hit the Indian Ocean, Australia, right? They were thinking in terms of the global model. But this is where it gets crazy. You know, as they realize I ain't stopping, one of the other pilots says to me, he goes, listen, you land that thing now, we sign an NDA and go home, act like this never happened. But go ahead, continue forward if you must, but just know it's a one-way ticket. You ain't ever coming back.
What did you do?
What I set out to. I could see the wall by this point. There was no turning back. And as I fly over the wall, the other jets behind me just hit wide pivots to turn around, and the pilot radios me one last time. He goes, crazy son of a bitch. Good luck, kid. And I mean, look, I just soar off into no man's land. I'm baffled. I'm seeing land masses that have never been accounted for. The navigational equipment on the jet is no longer working, but I know as long as I stay due south, I'll reach Panthea. I'll reach the dark continent. And lo and behold, 30 or so hours later, sun goes down and it never comes back up. I start to drop my altitude to get a better view, and there she was. I saw the dark lands. I saw everything that Hemington had spoke of. Look, I landed the jet on a clear landscape, and before I even had a chance to get out, there they were. The Pantheons Hemington spoke of, stepping in slowly. I mean, they were literally surrounding the aircraft. You know, I'm thinking, what the hell are they doing, right? And as I'm getting ready to power up the engine, I can't move a muscle.
What do you mean?
I couldn't move if I'd wanted to. I believe they'd had some sort of control over my central nervous system. Their biofield was just so disproportionately powerful.
That's impossible.
Listen, when an electromagnetic broadcast is strong enough, it can influence another. Okay, it's like an EMP on your nervous system.
What happened?
As they got closer, it got stronger. I felt them probing my mind, wanting to know who I was, where I came from. They saw everything.
What did they want?
My hand started moving against my will and pulled the lever to release the airlock on the door of the jet. 8 or 9 of them came on board.
My God.
As my hands went through the motions of initializing takeoff, I realized what they wanted.
You brought them back here.
At that point, I had no choice.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember, y'all remember in 1952, I think, when all them aircrafts, those UFOs flew over the White House, right? Supposedly that was the Knuckles flying over to warn the government to stop using nuclear weapons, right? But that guy, he said he stole an aircraft and flew over the wall, right? And like he said once he got a certain distance, his equipment stopped working. That's because he hit reverse gravity. Once his equipment is set for this for the outside, once he hit reverse gravity, his needle gonna just hit down like that, because it gonna know how to read this other type of frequency when it crossed past the reverse gravity. Now somebody was just coming in. I think it was this guy. He said E7. Shout out E17, man. He said that he just see Alf. Yeah, you just seen Alf. They created Alf after the people from the center of the earth called it the Warnings. We showed pictures of them too, right? So if you look at the different the Muffin babies, the Sesame Street where they show you the Big Bird, they get all of these ideas from extraterrestrials. There are a group of beings that are big birds called the Blue Avians and the Canarians. We got whole tapes on them in a different extraterrestrial playlist, right? They get all these ideas from extraterrestrials, right? To make these bipedal-like animals or insects, etc. Right? So shout out, yeah, you just seen Alf is made after they know about the guy, and what I'm gonna tell you what they like to do. They like to feel like they way ahead of you. So in order to play with you and tickle you and make you feel stupid, they put the real information on TV. And so that way when the time come and the Galactic Council say, well, did y'all tell them? They're gonna say, yeah, we told them. We put it out in movies. They just thought it was science fiction. The word, they really believe the word science fiction is not an oxymoron. Science and fiction is an oxymoron, because fiction is saying that you don't know, and science is saying that you do know. The knowledge of knowing, and then fiction is saying, oh, well, we don't really know. We just made it up. You can't make nothing up from something that don't already exist. Right, let's roll that next one, man, because we got so many clips. Okay, let's see what we at right here.
So you're telling me this guy flew over the ice wall with a jet. Not only did you fly over the ice wall, so these tunnels underground, which you stole a jet to see if there were really lands beyond the ice wall. To see, not only did you fly over the ice wall in a stolen jet, you found the dark continent, encountered the Pantheons, and got electromagnetically compelled to allow them to board the aircraft and bring them back here. I mean, look, you said you flew the jet for 30 hours beyond the ice wall. Everybody in the comments is kind of getting on your case about that.
Understandably. I mean, look, people like to gloss over the facts, right? The details. I mean, go back and listen. I said that the research and development center I took this jet from was working with unprecedented design patents. Okay, the fuel efficiency on these things would never be publicized, but regardless, look, as I'm flying back in, right after leaving the Dark Continent with these Pantheons on board with me, this is where things tense up. As soon as I get back within the ice wall, I've got 5 or 6 fighter jets behind me. I'm thinking, this must be government or something. Obviously didn't want to let me re-enter the inner world after having discovered the reality of the outer lands. The Pantheons on board kind of shift their focus off of me and onto the imminent threat of these other jets on our tail, right? At which point I hear one of the other pilots radioing in over the traffic control. He goes, "You know how this ends, kid. I told you once you left, there was no coming back." And as I hear the lock-on warning start going off, time just kind of slowed down.
They were going to send missiles.
Exactly. And I'm thinking, let them do it, right? I mean, it would prevent these Pantheons from entering our world. Realized I had probably moments to make a move. And as the incoming threat detection alert system starts going haywire, off pure instinct, I punch the...
So you're telling me this guy flew over the ice wall with a jet he'd stolen from the research facility. So these tunnels underground, which lead to a vast city beneath Manhattan, were created by the Vanderlei family, who were one of 7 families that allegedly came from beyond the ice wall and discovered our world centuries ago.
Exactly. Story goes our world's a whole lot bigger than we've been led to believe, buddy. That we are allegedly surrounded by this massive ice wall. Somewhere far outside of this ice wall, there is a place called the Ancestral Lands. This is where the Vanderleis were from. They, along with 6 other families, reigned supreme over the Ancestral Lands. They were like royalty. Amidst one of their expeditions, they discovered a massive wall made of ice in the middle of the ocean. Eventually, they found passages in the ice wall big enough for their ship to get inside. And the weeks that followed marked the discovery of 7 different continental landmasses. Each family claimed one. And so our world was born. They devised a plan to populate each continent with their own people from the ancestral lands, but only embryos. So they, or we, would have no knowledge of our origins.
Yeah, that's a bunch of crap right there. That's a bunch of crap. But that's a perspective that they give, though. These Pantheons.
Just because they won't let us sail below the 60th parallel doesn't mean the Earth is flat.
Yeah, what about the accounts from the men who actually did?
What are you talking about?
William Morris, late 1700s, traversed along the Antarctic Circle until he found it.
Found what?
Summer's Gate, every Glober's worst nightmare, one of the 3 exits along the ice wall, said The crew was too scared to go through it, but by the time they tried pulling out, it was already too late. Current yanked them through the opening into the other side, beyond the ice wall.
My God.
Sailed through these unknown waters until
what?
They were approached by a massive red ship, unlike anything they'd ever seen back home, and it started blaring an unbearable horn until they finally realized William and his crew were no harm. They brought them up on board. And the captain of this giant red ship introduced himself to William as the leader of the ancestral lands, said his name was Tolliver. Yawning, William was in shock at this point, like trying to take in the fact that there was like this whole reality outside of this ice wall barrier. And Tolliver asked him what he was doing in these waters. William kind of apologetically said, like, I'm sorry, we just want
to... Now, there's some truth to what they're saying right there. Now, when you sail through the ice wall, you do come in contact with a city, and it is ancient people there that guard that city. And like I say, one of the groups is the Warnings, the little short, hairy-looking beings. They guard Rainbow City, but it is a humanoid species. But they got blue skin and green skin colors, right? These people that guard that city, and they are tall. Some of them can get up to 10 feet tall, but for the most part, the average height is between 6 foot and 7 foot tall, right? And they do got ships, like he said. They do got ships that guard that entrance. Not only do they got the like Navy, big, huge, advanced Navy ships with some kind of fusion type weapon on it, that like the fusion cannon. Got a fusion cannon that they can hit your ship and just like pretty much dematerialize it. If they want, they got different modes on it, on these cannons on their ship. So they just imagine the baddest warship we got, like one of the destroyers. Imagine a huge destroyer. So these beings, they got technology like that, and they really that technology really was given to them by the Anunnakis to fight off the reptilians in case the reptilians came before they made it back. See, look, because that dude in the storyline he said that the Anunnakis had a war with the reptilians, and they pretty much lost a lot of their people. Doc go into that too in the Holy Tablets. And then he goes to say that these reptilians were custodians for some strange reason. They're custodians. And that the Anunnakis gave them a certain technology to when if the reptilians came back, and that they couldn't defend themselves off from these guys. So they gave them these people on the other side of the wall that live in the center of the earth, got this advanced technology. So that's partially true about you're gonna get met. You're not gonna just walk straight down into there. You gotta pass certain gates to get to Shamballah, right?
So these tunnels under.
So you're saying Antarctica wasn't always frozen?
There's a massive hole in Antarctica. You can see it on Google Earth.
So you're saying Antarctica wasn't always frozen?
There's a massive hole in Antarctica. You can see it on Google Earth and about 30 meters wide. But here's the weird part. Around that hole, there are bases, research stations. And each base, it's named after a different country. Every major nation has a presence there. They're all studying whatever's in that hole. But that's not even the craziest part. About, I'd say, 15 to 30 miles behind that hole, there's a gigantic pyramid. I'm talking massive, way bigger than the ones in Egypt. You can see its complete apex. It's been featured on the History Channel, Ancient Aliens. It's not a secret. It's just there. Now, how did a pyramid get in Antarctica? No sand, no tools, just ice. Well, Antarctica wasn't always frozen. That continent, it shifted. The Earth's crust slipped, moved the landmass all the way to the South Pole during a pole shift. Rapid, violent. And here's the scientific proof. As the ice melts thanks to global warming, they're finding animals buried in the ice, perfectly preserved. And when they dissect them, undigested food, still in their stomachs. You know what that means?
They froze instantly?
Exactly. Flash frozen. Something catastrophic happened. Fast. And nobody's talking about it.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
I tell you what happened. It was a certain type of weapon or bomb that the Anunnakis used to cause a natural disaster. Really, it caused it caused the sun to be blotted out. Doc talk about this, and it actually goes into this in the Bible in the beginning where it says the earth was formed. It actually don't say it was void. It don't say that it was what it say in the Bible. It say toho boho, which means it wasn't formless, right? It wasn't formless and void. So what I'm getting at, because I've got sidetracked, I'm really trying to stay on the same subject, but Earth was already about the map. That's what I was gonna say. Like, you remember that map, right? So if you look at how that map looked like a conveyor belt, right? And he said it looked like it appears that a lot of the continents shift, right? And that is true, because like I say, the way it's designed like a conveyor belt, so that land mass can move, and it happens a lot of times. And some land masses bump together. They call it a tectonic plate shift. That's what I was gonna say. The tectonic plate shifts. So that's what he getting into, right? But that pyramid was built. That pyramid that looked like it's built. It was built by the same people that built the pyramid in ancient Kemet, because that land was part of ancient Kemet. The land down there, and that hole that he's talking about is the hole I just showed you at the bottom, and the hole in the ice is the hole to get into the center of the earth. And the reason why all the governments got their different bases down there, because after Adolf Hitler was down there already. Adolf Hitler set up the base and had to deal with the people down there already. But after Adolf Hitler, after the U.S. government did Project Paperclip and beat Hitler, right? What they did now is joined on with the French government, the Chinese government, the Russian government, and a couple more other ones that got a little status. The African government, or really the African Union as a whole, and set up them the base down there. Why? Because they I can't say they guarding it, they monitoring it. They monitoring that area. They trying to monitor the people in the inside, and they doing deals and in contact with the people in the inside. Don't let them fool you. They ain't telling none of this stuff.
But there's an opening there that you can see on Google Earth. It's about a 30-meter wide opening in Antarctica. Now, when you look at this opening, there's a base. There's a lot of bases around the opening. Each base has a name, and the names are the countries of the planet Earth. They have their own base down there. They're doing a collaborative research of whatever is in this hole. Now, behind that hole, about maybe 15 to 30 miles, there's a gigantic pyramid off in the distance. Wow. And the pyramid is there. You can see the complete apex of it. It's been on the History Channel. It's been on Ancient Aliens. It's a famous pyramid. It's been there. But it's massive, much bigger than the one in Egypt. Much bigger.
How did they build it out there with no sand?
Well, what's interesting is you look at Antarctica and you realize it's not from that location on the planet Earth. Antarctica, that continent itself, shifted into that position due to a pole shift of the crust of the Earth itself. So the tectonic plates have sometimes slipped, and that continent moved into that position at a very rapid pace. And you know what the scientific evidence is? The scientific evidence is, as we begin to dig out the animals from the melting ice due to global warming, they dissect them right away. They have undigested food in their stomachs.
What?
Which means that they were flash frozen.
Oh, Billy, I want to have one of that other dude say that first, or Billy said it first. But it sounds like he said the same thing that they said, but so that confirms it. Billy Carson said the same thing the other guy just said, right? So I just showed you a map, right? Let's put up that map. Well, I think we got like, I think that was the last video. Let's pull up that map again for you, so I can get back to explaining now what's happening. Now that I got them videos and heard kind of like some accounts of what people are saying, or what they seeing and what they doing. Let me pull this map back up and go into explaining more what's happening. Hey y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We up late. You want to get? Hey, if you want to get them 8 books by the young elder, right? The Book of Extraterrestrial, the Ascension Manual, the Galactic Family of Life, the Dream Scroll, the Language of the Birds, right? The Hustler's Manual, the Scroll of Eyes, We got 8 books for $45. They real thick. Gonna take you a long time to read them. All you gotta do is just send me $45 to the Cash App, leave your emails and the links, and I'll send the books right over to your email in PDF form. Let me blow this up for y'all. All right, so like I said, he said that they talking about it's a hole, and the government has got bases set up. So they talking about right here. The hole is right here. There's a small entrance. They talking about the hole won't go, they don't know how deep it's gonna go. Yeah, but it goes all the way to the center of the earth. That hole. Hitler, like I say, Hitler was down there first. But now the government is down here going this base at the bottom right here. So now y'all can see my my thing now, my hand. So yeah, okay, all right. Now I can do more explaining. All right, so you see right here, these are continents. This is a continent. Then it's got water, like a little ocean of seas right here. Then it's got another continent. Well, it's really three. It's only really 3 continents because all these continents connect. It's really only 3 more continents outside of the ice wall. But it ain't no outside of the ice wall. It's inside the ice wall, right? If you want to, it depends on how you want to look at it though. Inside, outside. But what happens is if you right here and you selling, right? You selling right here, and then the extraterrestrials have carved passageways through the ice to be able to keep selling to where you can come out on this side, right? So what are these guys you just talked about? Some of them sell through the passageways, and they go right here. And once they get to the middle, right here, which is reverse center of gravity, this is center of gravity right here. Once they get right here, it'll seem like they'll get disoriented, because it'll seem like you view is going up. Once you cross center of gravity, it'll be like you going down, or vice versa. Once you're going down, it'll seem like you cross center of gravity, you'll be like you're going up. So they couldn't tell the difference if they was going, if they sell off Earth or around Earth. Ain't no selling completely around Earth, especially without going through this hole. You cannot sell around Earth without going through this hole. Without finding the ice wall on both sides of the globe and going through this ice wall and selling around here. And once you get around here, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you, once you get about 30 or 40 miles into that ice wall, the center of gravity is gonna start to pull you. The current is going to try to pull you, the inner current, to the center ocean called the Argon Ocean. It's going to start to pull you to the inside once you get right here. But the government is right there guarding this place. The government is guarding. Matter of fact, different governments is guarding this place. Billy Carson just verified it, because people say Young don't be having receipts. Young just be talking out the side of his neck. So he bought. They listened to Billy Carson, so he bought Billy Carson and a couple more other guys that y'all might listen to see what's going on. And like I say, it's a city right here called Rainbow City. Right here at the bottom, you can see Rainbow City. And they got advanced cities made of plastic and different crystals, cities right here in the inside. And then once you sail around here, it's a whole nother world, bigger than the inside. People were living down here before they were living on the surface. Man has begun to multiply on the face of the earth. Man was multiplying on the surface, on the inside before. Right? There's a whole bunch of cities, there's bases down here, extraterrestrial bases. And then, like I said, Admiral Byrd and them went down here on this side trying to get in. But Hitler and them gave him the business. Hitler and them doing Project High Jump and all that. Hitler and them gave them the business, and they retreated. They actually tried twice to get up in there when Hitler was guarding it, but Hitler didn't let them get in there because Hitler technology was a little bit more advanced than the U.S. government at the time, until after Project Paperclip, right? So what do? They disguised another plan. What they're gonna do is fly. You see Admiral Byrd name right at the top, right? Admiral Byrd, 1947, during the Roswell crash. Remember, the Roswell crash happened in 1947, right? Admiral Byrd flew his ship into the inside And he said that he didn't know inside of this hole. He said it looked like tropical places. And he said he landed his ship inside of this place. And then he also goes into it in his diaries to say that when he got into the inside and began to land, a certain type of device, some kind of ancient technology, took control of his ship and landed it for him with an autopilot type device, right? And if you see right here, these are the advanced cave systems where the Derus and Terus live at. See, it says Derus, they live right here, and it's mountains in the inside that's taller than it's mountains on the other side of the ice wall that's taller than the mountains on this side of the ice wall. Right? Hey, appreciate that, AV, man. Shout out that boy AV, man. Appreciate that. It says land of the advanced race, right? And it's a city. Shamballah is just one of the cities. It's thousands of cities down here. It's islands down here, huge islands. Well, popular. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more people down here than it is on the surface. And the surface actually runs the planet. I mean the center of the earth people actually run the planet, not the surface people. So it's a lot going on with it. But we didn't want to hold you long. We'll take a couple questions then because we got to get out of here and let people sleep. But we'll take a couple questions, man. Like I said, the Anunnakis built this. And they built it because they actually destroyed it they say by accident. They always doing stuff by accident. Like Godzilla and King Kong. Yeah, like so certain animals when some stuff happened, some of them made it, some of them got trapped right here trying to make it in the inside because the animals are connected with the planet, right? So the animals know when to move when something bad about to happen. So a lot of the animals was heading this way when the calamity happened, which is why a lot of them got froze during that when it happened. They got froze while they was going there, and that's why they still got vegetation and all that in their mouth, right? And some of them was already living down there, right? And then another, some of them actually made it into the center of the earth, and those that made it into the center of the earth, their lifespan got increased, or so they live longer and they grow bigger. These beings that made it to the center of earth, like some of the hairy elephant, the T-Rex, some of the dinosaurs that were thought to be extinct, survived. Piranhas and things of that nature, and certain types of whales that were starting to be extinct, they survived in the center planet. And not only did they survive, their lifespan increased, and their offspring lifespan increased through their DNA uploads and upgrades from being in the center of the earth. Thus, they grow bigger. Some of the beings that grow that's small on the surface grow bigger in the center of the earth. A lot of the plants on the surface, they grow that smaller, grow bigger in the center of the earth on the other side of the ice wall. So that's why a lot of people give an account about the other side of the ice wall. They say, I saw larger vegetation. It's less pollution. It's cleaner. It's more, it's more spiritual down there, in these things. Inanna gives account in her book, in the book Inanna Return. Inanna gives an account of her journey down there to meet. And at that time, her sister was over the place. Her half sister. Well, it depends on if you talk about because they had different mothers, right? Her half sister Ariskagil was over the place, and they ended up getting into it. And Ariskagil ended up pulling the pistol out, pulling the plasma weapon out on Inanna and shooting her. Then hanging her body on the wall on her wall palace for everybody to observe it. I'm telling you, like, man, that lady was crazy, man. Aunt Gil was crazy. She was part reptilian though, and she had my grandfather Nanar in her. Nanar Singh. He was like, you ain't get more than one chance with him to mess up. You messed up one time, he dealt with it. One time, you got one time to mess up with Nanar. That's it. I'm telling you, so everybody's on eggshells around. And Nanar, you think Enlil is a trip, man? Nanar he cool. Like it's just certain things that he cool about. But like when we was at his house and we break something, he didn't care about us breaking them. Because he could be like, oh, I get it fixed, or I'll just buy another one. I'll just get another one. right? But it's certain things that he ain't that you got one time on. You know what I'm saying? But we got more coming. We getting more into the extraterrestrial thing, so we got more coming. We just not getting started, pretty much. Going more into the extraterrestrial files and breaking everything down, so the humans can get a better grip on what's happening. And we separating the reef from the chats. And so the children of the Anunnaki and the other children of other species that's here to pick up their children, they being awakened now. The information is being flowing out. They being awakened now. And it's been going on since 1970. And y'all had a dream that Doc was running with a baton. And man, was he running his ass off. Doc was running his behind off with that baton. I'm telling you, boy. Doc ran along. He ran fast. He got us. Look, we was behind. We was behind in the race. And Doc, when Elijah Muhammad handed it up, see, it was Noble Drew Ali. He handed it out to Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad ran with it. And then he handed it to Doc. And we was behind when Elijah Muhammad handed it out to Doc. Elijah Muhammad did a good job, though. When he handed it out to Doc, man, Doc did a sprint like you ain't never seen, bro. He blasted us up. What we need. He blasted us all the way up there, man. Free Dr. Malachi York, man. Doc blasted us all the way up there. Even when people were calling him crazy from putting this type of stuff out. It's about to get ready to come out now. And then people are going to be saying, oh, Doc, he wasn't that crazy. Yeah, you about to find out. This right here stuff been out. The elites been knowing about it. They just want you humans and you mortals to know about it. That's all it is. They put stuff in movies, though. Journey to the Center of the Earth. They put stuff in movies. Right? Let's stop seeing my screen. But everybody gone to sleep now, man. We going past the mark. Yeah, free Dr. Malachi York, man. My master teacher. Right? Yeah, Nano Sin, right? Nino Brown. Put it together. Nanar technology. And then they showed you a movie called, was it Moonfall? Where they went inside the moon and they was using nanotechnology inside the moon. It was this certain type of advanced nanotechnology that was attacking the moon base. Y'all remember that? Called graphene. It's like it's a advanced nanotechnology called graphene that they were using, and they using that now. They putting it all in the food, and that's what the 5G technology was about, to control that artificial nanobots, the graphenes, and they react to certain cell phone devices. Everybody get up out of here, man. We cracked heads. We twist caps. Young Yellow TV, man. You don't want to miss this. We out. And like I say, who else is doing it but the Sons of the Green Light? Who else doing it besides the Sons of the Green Light, man? Never have it been made so clear.